Welcome back to Page to Picture, the podcast where books come to life on screen and in conversation. I am your host, Kim, and today I am joined by an author who proves that sometimes the most powerful chapters come from life's unexpected plot twists. After turning a major career setback into a creative breakthrough, she built an entire world from the ground up, one filled with resilience, emotion, and just the right amount of chaos. Blending sci-fi, fantasy, and romance in a way that hits you right in the feelings, her Afterglow Rising series has been capturing readers who want more than just a story, they want to feel something. So whether you're here for the world building, the heartbreak, or the behind-the-scenes tea on what it really takes to bring a story like this to life, you're in the right place. Stacey LP, welcome to Page to Picture.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have you on. I feel like this is a great time because sci-fi is really in right now, right? So I think this is like a perfect time to have you on and for your episode to be out there and to talk about your books. So I'm going to start off with the question that we ask every author. We believe that every author has an origin story, and we want to know what yours is because you turned a setback into your life into like this new journey, right? And so tell us about that. How did you become a writer?
Yeah, so I like to think I've always been a writer. Ever since I was a little kid, one of the reasons I would get in trouble would be because instead of, doing the normal thing like other kids do and coming up with normal excuses, I would craft these elaborate stories to justify whatever I did to misbehave. Whether they were rooted in truth or not, that's kind of my love for storytelling began. Always a big reader. I have my master's degree in English literature, and I took many creative writing classes when I was in college. And I always wanted to do something with that, but I didn't know what. All I knew was I love to read and I love to write.
Right.
I fell into the tech world in my career. And after about a decade of working for the same company, they had a mass layoff. And I was like, all right, what do
What
I
do
do
I
now?
do? Yeah. What's next?
My friends encouraged me. They're like, well, you've always wanted to write. Like, what if you, while you're searching for your next job, like, you should just do that?
Mhm.
And we were going around all of these ideas of books that we wanted to read, but just didn't see in the world. And we started talking about like apocalypses and different kinds of apocalypses. And a lot of stories are kind of centered around, a plague or a natural disaster or zombies.
Yeah.
And comes to alien invasions, I was like, I feel like there's something there.
You're like, and I'm going to write it because I want to read it. And I feel like people want to read that too. So let me write it.
Exactly.
So, like, writing has always been there for you. It was just a matter of when the opportunity was going to come for you, right?
Yeah,
And so it
exactly.
did. I mean, look, you're like literally you're writing this series, which we will dive into your book series. I mean, what a way to take, something that happened and you're just like, well, maybe this is a sign that I should do what I love, but you've always it's always been part of your DNA, right? To write.
Exactly.
That's awesome. So for anyone who has not read your series, can you tell our listeners what the Afterglow Rising trilogy is about? What's the spiel, the blurb, I guess?
Yeah. So the Afterglow Rising trilogy is a post apocalyptic alien invasion aftermath story set in Austin, Texas. And there is a Slytherin romance subplot between a couple of the main characters. And the story follows the characters as they're thrown into this world. And it really looks at, you know, the aliens arrived, they destroyed Earth, and these characters are left to figure out, all right, so what now? We're left
Hmm.
this city that's been torn apart. There are these alien creatures that the invaders left behind that are hunting them down, and a lot of other mysteries left to figure out along the way. So
Yeah.
the story of survival and those morality questions that come into play when you're in this dystopian environment and very character driven.
Yeah. it kind of gives off Walking Dead meets 100, like that kind of
Mhm.
vibe. And Walking Dead in the sense of, I mean, in the first book, the first like chapter, we're introduced to our FMC, and you're with her where she's like waking up, and you're like, okay, you're along the journey of what happened, what is going on. She's introduced to, a group of characters, and so they're together, and then a couple of chapters in, you're introduced to like another group of different group, and it's very like Walking Dead where you're like introduced to different groups, and then eventually they all kind of like meet up, but not zombie related, right? But it was in that's what like I was thinking about when I was reading it. I was like, I love when there's groups and then eventually they all meet, and then it's all this situation. I love that. I love the idea of like aliens, of like that's like a great idea. And I agree with you that I haven't really read anything like that, like post-apocalyptic, and it's like an alien invasion or something else. It's always like you said, like a plague, zombies, or like the end of the world, like natural disasters. So it's like a great twist on that. So I really, and you seem, just by talking to you and like you explain it, you're like so passionate about it and you just like love it so much. And I love that.
Definitely get very excited about it.
Yeah, and that's great. That's really great. So with this Afterglow Rising, what came first? Was it like the world? Was it the characters? Like how did the writing I'm always intrigued when it comes to writing and asking authors what came first? Like the worlds, the characters, the plot, like where came first?
The world. It's set in Austin, Texas, which is where I live now. I've been here almost 5 years, and I feel like a lot of post-apocalyptic stories are in bigger cities, and
Yes.
it's definitely a city, but on a smaller scale compared to, like, New York City, and I really loved the idea of having it set in a smaller city where I lived, where I could literally, and I have done this, like, driven the path that our characters follow and, like, seeing,
You're just
"Okay."
like on the side of the road, like writing, you're like, this is where this is gonna happen.
Exactly. So, the world definitely came first, and I was
Mhm.
thinking about, I kept thinking back to during COVID, where I was actually working in New York City during that time, and I had to drive to my office at one point to pick up some stuff that I left behind, and the city was just completely shut down, and it was so eerie and just, like, never seen New
Yeah.
York City so empty. And I know that all across the US and the world, honestly, like a lot of people experience that. So that feeling of being almost isolated in a big city and what it would look like after alien invaders came and tore everything apart, that feeling is really where the story started for me.
I love that. And where did you come? Well, first of all, yeah, I'm here in Vegas. So like when COVID happened, the Las Vegas strip, all the it was like dead. Like nobody was there. It's really eerie when you go from being somewhere that's like always a lot of people, always a lot of noise, and then it's just like dead silence. It is like creepy. How long have you been thinking about writing this series then? Like when did it, I mean, like, have you always knew that this is the kind you wanted to write? Or it just, like you said, you were talking with your friends and you were like, well, this is a great idea. Like, how long has this story been like resonating with you?
The story came out of nowhere.
You're like, I wish I could say since I was 10 years old, I've been thinking about, you're like, no, it literally just like came out of nowhere.
I always thought, because my history in writing, I wrote a lot of poetry, short stories, creative nonfiction. So when I thought about what I would write when I finally wrote a novel, I always thought, oh yeah, like something contemporary, maybe like
Mhm.
postmodern themes. But nope, aliens called to me, and here I am.
You're like, they came into my head and they told me to write this. And I said, okay, I will do your bidding. How is your writing style? I mean, coming up a lot of characters, are you somebody who like plots it? Are you like you have it all out? You have like, okay, these are my characters, like this is who they are. Or are you someone who just like writes and like characters will be like, hey, hi, I'm a new character, write me inside your book. Cause that happens a lot to authors too. They have random characters just randomly show up in the middle of like chapter 20 and they're like, okay, all of a sudden this character now is in the story. So like how are you more of a plotter? Are you a pantser? Like what's your writing style?
Oh gosh, it's a little bit of both for sure. I have an entire whiteboard on my wall where I have these like sticky post-it notes with all these different pieces of the trilogy. Before I even started writing, I did sit down and really think about what is the story that I want to tell? Where do I want to
Mhm.
what are key moments of the plot that have to happen?
Mhm.
A lot of time outlining. And then as I started writing, my characters had other ideas entirely. I'm definitely at their mercy. I have an idea of where I want the story to go, but I find that as I'm writing, the characters take over. It's
Yeah.
like they're there inside my head, and I'm just watching this movie of them doing all these things. I'm like, all right, so I guess we're doing this now.
Yeah, and it's something that a lot of people don't realize with authors. It's like a real thing. They have an idea of like, okay, I know these are my main characters. This is kind of where I want them to go through the journey. This is where I want them to end up. And then as you're writing, your main characters are like, that was cute, but that's not what we're gonna do. We're actually gonna do this. And then you guys as authors, you're like, all right, that's what we're going to do then. I guess that's fine. Yeah, a lot
Yep.
of people don't realize that. And I love hearing that those like stories when I talk to authors. And so that kind of like brings me into like a funny question. So you recently posted, you share a post about what the main cast and villains would be if they were Pokemon, which I loved. My question for you is, do you know what Pokemon you would be?
Ooh, that's a good one.
She's like, no one's ever asked me that question.
Before. That is hard. So my favorite character, from Pokemon has always been Psyduck,
Yeah.
because I also get migraines. But I feel like I have it a little bit more together than Psyduck does, hopefully.
You're like, I like to think so, but
So I would say, ooh, there's so many options. Maybe, maybe like, a combination. Now we're
I love
getting
that. You're like, I'm gonna make my own Pokemon. Actually, we're gonna do this.
so a combination of like Pikachu, Jigglypuff, and probably Psyduck.
I
Yeah.
love that because I could see all three of those as like you. Like you're so bubbly and like I love that. We'll make like a good like collage of all three of them for you.
Right?
I love that so much. And then also, so you curated a playlist for your series. How did you come up with it? Was it during the writing process? Was it when you were driving around and like a song came on and you were like, oh, this would be perfect? I'm always intrigued when authors have a playlist. And I'm always like, at what point did you know that this song would be good for this book?
Yeah. Ooh, I love that. I'm a very big music person. You can see the guitars behind me.
Yeah.
So I will listen to a lot of like ambient style music when I'm writing, like thunderstorms are a big one. But when I'm writing certain scenes, I find that usually there's a song that's stuck in my head.
Mhm.
And a lot of times it'll be like there are certain songs that just reminded me of the vibes of Afterglow. And like from there, I'll usually put Spotify on shuffle and like let it select songs that are like similar to it.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, so, like, there's this one song that is in, like, nearly half my post probably. It's called "The Afterglow" by Silverstein, and if my book were a movie, like, that would absolutely be the end credit song.
Like that'd be the end credit, that'd be the trailer, that'd be like with the song you would hear every post that comes out about the movie. I love that.
It's just the energy of the song and, like, some of the lyrics just resonate with, like, the love story subplots, and it just, like, gets me in this place where I'm like, "Alright, like, I'm ready," like, I'm starting to see the story in my head.
Mhm.
Other times, it'll just be a song that I have on repeat for days as I'm writing
And
like
you're
a
like, "This song is going in the book because I'm obsessed with the song."
like writing book 3 right now, I've definitely had like Sleep Token on repeat. And
My gosh. If my sister was here right now, she would freak out. She loves Sleep Token, and she always for days, months maybe, she'd be like, "Kim, you need to listen to this," and she would send me all the time. She would freak out over it. I'm gonna make this the clip because she would freak out over it. That's awesome. I love a good playlist, and I love when authors have a playlist for you to listen to while you read because it just helps like put you in that world. And it gives you like more feelings with like your characters and like where they are and like certain situations. So I love that. Please don't ever stop. The more you write, please don't ever stop putting a playlist. Okay, so what makes this series, and I know you kind of mentioned it, you changed it. It's not like zombies or plague, but like what really makes this series different from other sci-fi fantasy stories? Like what if somebody was like, "Well, what makes your stories different than all these other ones?" What would you say?
yeah, I like to say it's kind of like an intro to sci-fi. Because there are definitely the sci-fi pieces that you would find in other sci-fi books, but it is very character driven. It is very much about how these people are adjusting to this world, how they're getting to know each other, how their relationships change over time. And I think that's something that really helps to bridge the gap for a lot of my readers come from like fantasy or
Yes.
romantasy or like contemporary works that they would typically read. And like one thing that always sticks out to me is like the fact that they were apprehensive about trying sci-fi to begin with. And after reading my book, they're like, I feel like I need to just dive into the genre.
There. Yes, yes. I agree. I feel sci-fi was always really hard for me as well to get into just because I don't know it's it can be intimidating. Right? It can be very intimidating, and the way that you write your story, I agree where it's like it is very character driven, and I think that's what, like, helps ease into it because you don't realize that you're really reading a sci-fi story because you're already introduced to these characters and you're just with them on this journey. When I was reading your first book, I was like, "I could totally see this as, like, I'm, like, currently watching Paradise. I don't know if you've watched Paradise or not. But, like, Paradise and, like, The Last of Us, which is, like, the zombie or, like, the
Mhm.
zombie-ish one or whatever, and then, like, Walking Dead, like, I could see this book as I'm reading it, I was like, "I could see this as, like, a TV show where, like, the first couple episodes you're learning about this character, and then it, like, jumps into these characters," and I'm just like, I love those kinds of stories. I would love your story to be a TV show, to be honest. I will tag the appropriate people and we will try to like get it out there because it would be really good and I think like interesting and intriguing. And I think it's just like what people would need. They need to read it and then they need to watch it. So
Agree.
I will help post tag everybody in this episode.
Helps too. Like people know Austin, Texas, and that familiarity as well, I think just helps people to feel more comfortable diving in because they're like, all right, like this is Earth. I know Earth.
Yes, it's not like some random place and we're just like, where are we? Somewhere out in space, or it's somewhere familiar. And then you obviously know it very well. So you have it really true to like the city where it is. And so I think that a lot of people like that also, the familiarity of it, right? What advice do you have for other authors out there? Whether they're starting to write for the first time or they want to write, but they just don't know where to begin. Like, what's the best advice that you can give somebody?
Yeah, I think community is everything. One of the first things that I started doing when I started writing Afterglow is I reached out to a lot of other indie authors just to get their perspective, like understand what their process was, especially learning the publishing industry in general. That's a huge, huge feat. There's a
Yeah.
lot. there. So,
Yes.
especially with indie authors, everyone has figured it out for themselves, and every journey is so different. So, you get a lot of different perspectives the more people you talk to. And from there, it helps to figure out what's going to be the best path for you. And I know a lot of people can be a little nervous to reach out to other authors. And like my advice there is like, just go for it. The worst thing that can happen is they don't respond. I've gotten no responses.
Yeah.
People are busy. It's never anything personal, but
Mhm.
it helps to have a good group around you where you can reach out and just say, "Hey, like I'm having trouble with this technical piece of publishing," or like, "Want to hop on a call and like do some sprints."
Yeah.
And that's definitely, I think, made the whole experience just extremely positive. And like we get to cheer each other on and like
Yep.
each other's wins, and when things are hard, like you have someone else who can relate.
Yes.
So I'd say for anyone who's getting into writing, definitely, go to local writing groups. Go to threads is where I found a lot of people that I
Oh,
connected.
okay, I feel like people sleep on Threads. It is a great outlet, a great community. We love at first I was like, "What is Threads?" I was like, "Is this like Twitter?" And then once you're in it, you're like, "No, everyone in Threads is amazing." Definitely I 100% agree with you on Threads. It's way better than like actual Instagram and actual like TikTok. Like you really build a great like community on Threads. I
Yeah, and
agree.
since text-based too, I feel like that just opens the door for, like, conversations to unfold. It's how I found my first writing group, and where I found, like, a lot of my closest friends, like, are still from that initial groups.
Yeah. No, definitely, I definitely agree. Reaching out and just kind of finding that community. And think we say it all the time on this podcast, especially when we talk to authors. Like there, there, there are a lot of people who are willing to help because they were there too, or they are there with you. You just, like you said, have to just shoot your shot, reach out, find that group of community, even in like your local city where you're staying, just find that little community, find these little like book events, people going to book site, just show up and you'll be amazed by like the long lasting friendships that you make once you've like put yourself out there.
Yeah, like, indie bookstores too will often have
Mhm.
and that's like I go to one, at my local bookstore every month, and it's just, like, a small group of people, and we're all on different journeys, but, like, it's just so nice.
It is, and like at first, I agree. It can feel intimidating because you don't want to feel like you're stepping on someone's turf. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm writing this. Is that like what you're writing else? Like, I'm not trying to like step in your area, but then a lot of times indie authors are just like, no, like, what do you got? Like, send it to me. Like, I'll help you. Like, what do you need help with? This is what I did. This is what I do. And we totally, as a podcast, can understand because when we first started our journey, we were like, what are we doing? Who
Right.
do we talk to? And then you find yourself finding other podcasts and you're like just connecting with them. There's like an amazing podcast, Two Chicks and a Plot Twist, who are out in Texas. That's where they're from.
Yeah.
And we found them and we're just like, if we ever make our way out there, first of all, Texas has a lot of great indie authors and podcasters.
Gosh, yeah.
I I have found that like when I'm on social media and or like I've made friends with people through, you know, social media, a lot of them are from Texas. And I told my sister, I was like, we should go out there. A lot of our people are out there. Like there's a lot of great people out there. We have to go out there. But yeah, you just have to find your people and it'll be great. It'll be
Yeah.
really great. Yeah. What is next for you? What is going on in your book journey? Because I mean, I feel like I know because I follow you on social media and I've seen it, but like, this is your time. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, so right now I'm working on book 3, which is gonna be
Mm.
the final book in the Afterglow Rising trilogy, which I'm still not ready to accept that it's about
Yeah.
to be.
I know to the point where like you wrote a novella. Did you know you were going to write a novella? Or were you like, I kind of just got to like put this out there?
as I was writing book 2, like, there's this point where the main cast, like, they split off on separate journeys,
Mhm.
and one of the characters writes letters, during that to kinda, like, fill in the gaps of what this other group is doing during that time, and after I finished writing book 2, that story just stayed with me, and all of a sudden, there was a novella.
Look, I'm a sucker for novellas. I think novellas are the best thing ever. They are one of my favorite things to read, so I love that you did a novella.
Yeah, and then after, the Afterglow Rising trilogy, there are 2 other projects that I'm working on. So, I have this idea for a fantasy rom-com that I've been working on and off, and then there's another duology that I'm working on, which is a dark romantasy, like, dystopian fantasy world with necromancy-based magic. So, very different from Afterglow in both directions.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love how you're like, "I'm not gonna stick to one genre. I'm gonna just write what comes in my head and, like, what characters are telling me to write." You're like, "I'm all over the place. Just read them. 'Em. You'll love them."
It's cold out here, but we have fun.
You're like, "Look, they're in my head, and I have to tell them, 'Wait, your turn,' because, like, I need to finish this story first, and then I'll get your guys' story out next." I totally understand that. When is your 3rd book coming out?
So I'm aiming for end of this year.
You're like, "And that's it?"
Yeah, it's tough because, like, with the 3rd book, I thought there was a lot of pressure with writing the 2nd book.
'Cause it's the middle, right? It's like, what are we
Yeah.
gonna put there? Yeah.
But now that, like, we're wrapping everything up, questions are being answered, we have, like, this final battle that's gonna take place, I'm like, it has to hit in all the right spots. Like, I don't
Right.
want any loose ends. We want, like, a very tight ending. So, I'm aiming for the end of the year. I know I'll have it written, but probably in the next couple of months, but I definitely wanna make sure that, like, as I'm reading through and going through my edits, like, I wanna make sure that it's, like, gonna hit the right way. So,
Right.
yeah.
My god. You're like, "So sometime at the end of the year." You're like, "Just stay tuned. You'll start seeing it. It'll sometime at the end of the year."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we are excited. We cannot wait for your 3rd book to come out. And I can't wait to read your novella because after I was reading your books, I was like, "Wait, she has a novella." I was like, "I have to read the novella," because I'm a huge novella fan. So, we are very excited, and we are excited to see what else you have coming down the pipeline. These other books that you have planned, these sound amazing, and they sound right up our alley. So we are very excited for you, and I really I just wanna tell you, like, I really enjoy the way that you write, the way your writing style, and it's very easy to follow. It's not, like, too much. Like, sometimes it can be scary when you have a lot of characters, and it can kinda be like, is it too confusing? Will they, like, remember? But, like, the way you write is very, very easy to, like, follow, and like you said, like, your book is a great intro into the sci-fi, so, like, I have to give you your flowers there. Like, I really enjoy your writing style and the way you have things laid out, so I really can't wait to read these other books that you have coming. It's gonna
Thank
be very
you.
good. Yeah, I loved it. I loved it. Before we go, we have our rapid fire this or that that we like to play. So I'm going to give you this or that, and then you just pick the first one that comes to your mind. Okay. Okay. No pressure. Don't worry. Morally gray character or whole found family.
Whole found family.
Characters who heal or characters who spiral.
Characters who spiral.
I know. I love a good chaos. Give me chaos. Let them heal after the chaos. Saving the world or saving the people you love.
Saving the people you love.
That's a like a debate. You know what I mean? That's a tough one. Found family or forbidden love.
Forbidden love.
Hopeful ending or heartbreaking ending.
Breaking.
Okay, I am right there with you. I don't know what it is. Like I have to like check myself. Like, is something wrong with me that like I want a heartbreak ending?
That's why a lot of people are mad at me about book 2.
I love a heartbreak ending. I love a book that like makes me question my whole existence. Like, why did I sit here
Yeah, I'm
and
like,
do this?
I will come back for more.
Yes. Is it a red flag? Maybe, but that's who we are. Movie adaptation or a TV series adaptation?
TV series.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite TV series adaptation right now?
The first one that comes to mind is The Walking Dead,
Yeah.
based off Nick. Yeah, like, they just did such a good job of, like, taking the story and, like, building on. There are a lot of things that remain consistent with the comic, but, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's great.
still.
I agree. I agree. And you know what? It's been a while because like I'm on like a John Bernthal kick right now. And I was like, when was the first time I ever saw him? I was like, duh, it was The Walking Dead. And I was like, I should revisit that show. Like it's been a while.
Yeah.
Okay, final line, killing a character for the plot or refusing because you're attached.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to go with killing for the plot.
You're like, look, sometimes it has to happen.
Yeah, sometimes it's necessary.
And I love
I
that.
love that.
I hate it, but I love it and I understand it, I think is the most important. You're like, I don't want to, but I have to sometimes.
Yeah, like, I find that there are certain books and series that I read where, like, they'll put the character in danger just enough, but, like, they'll always hold back, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Just
You're
do
like,
it."
just kill them. It's fine. You're like, I have accepted it as a reader, so just do it. Don't make them live. I love that. So that wraps up our episode. Stacey, before we go, is there anything you'd like to plug? Social media, websites, future events? This is your time to shine.
Yes. Okay. So you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Threads at author Stacey LP. That is Stacey with an EY. And I have a couple events coming up. So in June, I'm going to be at the Book Dragon event in, I believe it's Houston, Texas. It might be Dallas, Texas. I should know that. It's in fact.
You're like, I'll double check it.
And then in July, I will also be at Forbidden Love in Nashville. That's the Tea and Tropes event. Very excited about that one.
What?
Gonna be there, and I love her.
Oh my God, that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm very excited for both of those.
Oh my God, that is exciting. I love seeing authors like go to like these events and just like this is so much fun. I want to go to events. Yes, and we will make sure on our podcast and on our social media page we will put all of your tags and we will put your website on there too so that people can go and follow, make it real easy for everybody. Stacey, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. This was a lot of fun. You were so fun. You're like a bubbly. I love your like energy. You're just so great and so nice.
Thank you. I had so much fun. This was great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, rate, and leave us a review wherever you listen to your podcast. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Threads at Official Page to Picture for book to screen updates, behind the scenes content, and more author interviews. Thank you again, Stacey. And to our listeners, we will catch you next time on Page to Picture. Bye.